Hi, I'm T-Flex, and I am a lifelong fat person and also a dieter. I have a condition called lipedema that makes fat loss really hard for me, so I've kind of had to accept that I'm going to be both fat and dieting for most of my life. So I'm trying to create a bunch of really body positive, fat positive YouTube videos that are also about evidence-driven, scientific nutrition and fitness stuff. So today I'm gonna be trying out the RAD diet, and if that sounds like your jam, get on in here. And if that is not your jam, go get your jam, put it on your toast, have a great day. Yeah, in this video in particular, I'm gonna be going over a lot of like diet and nutrition stuff with like very specific numbers, and what works for me might not work for you, and it is some diet culture shit. So if you're not into that right now, I promise you in the future, I will have more like body positive fitness and nutrition talks that aren't talking about weight loss. That is not this video. So I will come and get you when I'm doing that kind of content with all of my love. Go live your best life and get heck out of here. Also, here's probably a really great place to tell you that I am not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. I am a 34-year-old woman who dresses like a 12-year-old boy. Do not take your medical advice from me. This is just me talking about my journey. What we are doing today is entertainment. For certain values of entertainment. In particular, I'm gonna be sharing stuff that like does or does not work for me personally, and I've noticed about myself that I have to do a bunch of crap that other normal people don't have to do. If you are new to weight loss or health and fitness, you should be making considerably more moderate changes than I'm making right now. I am a 12-year-long keto dieter who has been literally ketogenic for the past year. My diet is stupid, and I'm going from one stupid thing to a new stupid thing. So you probably shouldn't start with stupid. You should probably start with making a couple moderately healthy changes in a way that works with your lifestyle. So please do that. Don't come for me. Okay, great. With all those disclaimers out of the way, let's get to the RAD diet. Awesome. No, not that kind of rad. The RAD diet stands for the Rare Adipose Disorders Diet, and it was developed. Can I at least do the part where I explain what the diet is? Because I put this whole outfit together. Sure, knock yourself out. Thanks, I really appreciate it. The RAD diet stands for the Rare Adipose Disorder Diet, and it was developed by lipedema expert Dr. Karen Herbst. Great. It's basically a series of dietary interventions directed at reducing the different health problems that can contribute to lipedema. Like there's some people who do the ketogenic diet to try and to starve cancer because certain tumors can metabolize glucose but not ketones. So they change the foods that you're eating to better fight cancer. They're trying to do the same thing with this diet, except with the specific health problems concerning lipedema by eliminating the kinds of foods that can exacerbate it. First, you try to reduce the volume of lymph in your body by trying to reduce the amount of fats that need to be delivered in the lymph instead of passing through the bloodstream. Long-chain saturated fats need to travel through the lymph to get around the body, but short and medium-chain fatty acids, like the ones found in fish and flax and stuff like that, can just pass directly through the bloodstream, and so you can reduce your lymph volume that way. Second, you want to reduce your lymph leakage by eating foods that increase nitric oxide availability. That's stuff like fish, soy, beans, lentils, nuts, fruits, and vegetables. 3, another big thing is preventing inflammation, and a big source of inflammation is gut dysbiosis. So you want to eat the kinds of foods that encourage good bacteria and discourage bad bacteria. You do that by limiting things like sugars and fats and simple carbohydrates that can kind of encourage those bad bacteria, and eat more of like a wide variety of fruits and vegetables, and also like omega-3 fatty acids and fermented foods. 4, you want to reduce inflammation caused by grain metabolism and gluten intolerance. So you do that by eliminating grains and refined flours. Number 5 is you want to prevent fatty liver disease. You do that by consuming a lot of cruciferous vegetables and leafy greens, and by consuming a lot of like fish and eggs. You want to limit overall your fats and your grains and your processed carbohydrates, and then also alcohol and saturated fat. It's also important to encourage skin health. A lack of skin elasticity can contribute to the problems caused by lipedema. So you need to keep your salt intake low, and then also do all of the healthy things like omega-3s, colorful fruits and vegetables. And because estrogen can be such a factor in this disease, it's really important to encourage healthy estrogen metabolism by Correcting gut dysbiosis, eliminating estrogens and cholesterols and animal proteins, keeping salt intake at the correct level, eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables with anti-angiogenic and antioxidant factors, consuming lignans in food like flaxseed, consuming estrogen metabolism supporting foods like soybeans, and avoiding foods with added estrogen like flaxseed and soybeans. Whew, I got it. Cool. Looks easy. Look, a really important thing to remember though when we're talking about this diet is these people aren't telling you to like replace all of your foods with these foods in order to be healthy. They're telling you what things you're eating that could be influencing your lipedema so that you can make small sustainable changes and work them into your existing diet. It's not just supposed to be a complete dietary overhaul. Okay, but I'm just running this by you. What if I did like a complete dietary overhaul instead? I feel like that's what I just said not to do. Hello? Are you listening? This seems irresponsible. Look, like all kidding aside, I think it's really important if you are new to health and fitness that you do start with more like moderate changes that kind of work in with your existing lifestyle and you don't just try to completely overhaul everything in one go. Because that's how you stick with something for your whole life. Me, like I'm in a different place right now. I have been doing either ketogenic or low carb dieting for the past 12 years. For the past 1 year, I've been on a strict ketogenic plan at like 1,200 calories, like super strict intermittent fasting, like super plan. I've never struggled really with disordered eating. I have a ton of experience with like going on a restrictive eating plan and then transitioning to a more moderate plan. So I really do think I'm not gonna have a problem with if it's real bad time, I'm just gonna switch back to what I know works for me. I'm not at risk for any kind of an all or nothing mentality. And since I'm on an eating plan that really works for me, but is not compatible with a RAD diet, I really don't want to just be making little tiny incremental changes over the course of a year to see if this thing works. I really want to be giving it a true shot and doing exactly what they're saying should be helping me. And if those things do help me, that's when I'm going to try and figure out, okay, how do I make this sustainable long term? So that's what I'm doing. And definitely, if ever I start feeling bad or if it's just not working out, I'll pull the plug without any kind of like shame attached to that. I mean, plan A was to do this whole kind of thing with an actual nutritionist, but it took me like a year to get a referral and they still haven't called me back yet. So we're just going to try this. I want to do the real thing later. So, what are we gonna do differently on RAD? Let's check out the book. That wasn't easy. Okay, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this exactly as written. 'Cause there's a lot. So, but first off, I do think this is a really well-written book. Like, it's not like one of those, it's like, here's the plan and it answers all the questions. Instead, it's more like, it goes over a series of different nutritional interventions that could affect lipedema in different ways, like the liver stuff and gut stuff and estrogen stuff. It goes through all the different things and why they recommend certain foods for those things. So it means that like it means like there's not a lot of fruits you're allowed to eat on this diet, but it also means that like since they tell you why they're making what recommendations, it's easier for you to kind of pick and choose. Like you know what they're thinking, so you can kind of like, well, this one's more important to me than that one, so I'm going to choose which things are going to be most helpful to me. So I appreciate that in a nutrition recommendation. But like, okay, let's just start off with me being a negative Nancy and telling you all this stuff that made me mad. Not mad at the book, just like mad that I have to do this now. The numbers, they aren't super crazy about like calorie counting or things like that. It's very much based on like foods and meals and carbohydrates and things like that. But they do recommend that you should be eating approximately like the normal, like what your TDEE says you should be eating. They're not trying to do anything magic with calories. But if somebody told me what the macronutrients were before I bought this book, I might not have bought this book because this was scary. They recommend that you eat approximately 65% of your calories from carbohydrates and 10 to 15% of your calories from protein, which leaves like 20 to 25% from fat. And I don't want to do that. That sounds bad. Not bad for you, just like bad time for me. 10% protein. No, come on. No. meal timing. I found this book and heard about the RAD diet through watching a YouTube lecture from Chuck Ehrlich, who's one of the authors. And in it, he was talking about how meal timing could be an important thing to do, where by doing a bit of intermittent fasting and reducing the amount of time your body spends digesting and making one of your meals something easy to digest, like a protein shake or soup that you can kind of help your gut to not produce as much lymph. I was totally ready to do that. I usually do intermittent fasting anyway, but then I started reading this, and does anybody see the problem here? Okay, first, normal number of calories. So for me, we're gonna go 1,400. 2, we got high carbohydrate, low fat diet that completely eliminates grains. Whole food, plant-based diet. Soup and protein shakes are 300 calories. So you put that together, and I'm eating one meal of soup or protein shake, and then one other meal of 1,100 calories of plants. That seems like a lot of plants and some fish, just 1,100 calories. I can't. It's not like you can put fat in the soup or in the protein shake to make that bulk it up, because you're not supposed to be eating a lot of fat. So and you can't put sugar in your protein shakes, and I'm having a hard time kind of meal planning what 2 meals a day with whole food plant-based approach would look like. So that's a lot of volume. How am I gonna eat with my friends? This seems like a really hard diet for me to. It's I've done restricted diets before, but I have not done diets that are really difficult to explain to people. I go to my friend's house, they know, serve me some smoked meat and some broccoli, and I'm happy. Have a great day. It's just meat and vegetables, go. Cheese, go. The people I've gotten to the point where they understand keto, and especially the people in my life, they know, I know how I can socialize at their houses and things like that. But I can't even, I'm having a tough time explaining to YouTube what I'm supposed to eat on this diet. Whole food, vegan, but with fish, but with no gluten. And no one knows what the RAD diet is who is not already Googling everything about lipedema, so there's no way they're gonna understand what this is. I'm bringing all my food. Good thing there's a global pandemic, so I can't hang out with my friends anyway. What do you actually eat? They make a whole bunch of really great recommendations on different things that you're supposed to be doing, but once they put it together in a meal plan, sometimes it doesn't make a ton of sense. First, if you Google RAD diet, the first thing you'll find is a thing from curelipedema.org, which is saying that the proteins you can eat are chicken, you should not eat any beef, red meat, pork, ham, bacon, lamb. And then in moderation, you can have turkey, which they say treat yourself on Thanksgiving. So in moderation might mean once a year. But then you go on lipedema.org and you look at their website, and they're sending you Chef Michelle Ligori has put together a series of recipes that try to follow the guidelines in the Lipedema nutrition book that's listed right above. And then you look at the recipes, and every single one of them is based on an animal protein that I'm not allowed to eat. The one of them says turkey once a year, and this one, the first 4 meals are pork satay, filet mignon, chicken Milanese, and lamb stew, and I'm allowed to eat one of those things in moderation. You're 9 days in before she recommends some kind of protein from the ocean. In the book, they're eating corn tortillas. Am I allowed to eat corn tortillas? Some of these pages are you can never eat butter, but you can eat coconut ice cream in moderation. The shopping guide is so confusing. And I'm so glad I'm not avoiding FODMAPs, because I would die.
Golly, it almost seems like this plan was designed to be worked into your life in a moderate, sustainable way instead of being a complete dietary overhaul.
Fine. All right, we're gonna take this stuff in here and try to create a meal plan that is a little more moderate and sustainable for where I'm at right now. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna take the protein, I'm gonna ramp it up. The way they explain it, the reason they're recommending that low of a protein number is because people don't actually need that much more protein, and that too much protein can exacerbate chronic kidney disease. Yeah, like I don't have chronic kidney problems. And the data is there that if you are a strength athlete, more protein than that can really be helpful in maintaining your muscle mass as you lose weight or increasing your muscle mass as you work out a lot. And so since for me, any kind of a diet that doesn't let me eat enough protein to support strength sports is not going to be a sustainable diet for me, I'm just going to bump up the protein and so that I'm going to shoot for like a 40-40-20, so 40% protein, 40% carbohydrates, 20% fat, and I'm probably not going to hit those numbers exactly, but that's at least what I'm going to aim at. And that's already like a big change from my previous diet, which I think was like 6% carbs, 33% protein, and like 61% fat. That was nutty. So this is, if we're trying to see if reducing fat is going to help my gut health, I think this is going to go a big way to making a difference in that. So I'm going to do 3 meals a day. I'm not going to try and do intermittent fasting yet. That can be a bridge we cross someday in the future. But I think even without strict intermittent fasting, splitting your meals up and not doing snacking in between can really help you with the letting your gut recover more between meals. So I'm gonna just take it a little easy. And so then, like, as far as what I'm gonna eat, I think they did a really good job of laying out what is important for what different problems that you have. For me, I already know I have a problem with high estrogen, so I'm gonna focus the most on suggestions made relating to estrogen. That means consuming a lot of dark green cruciferous vegetables, onions and garlic, limiting soy and animal proteins, and correcting gut dysbiosis by consuming a lot of fermented foods like kefir, and eating a variety of colorful fruits and vegetables, and getting adequate fiber, particularly inulin fiber and omega-3s, all while continuing to eliminate grains and sugars and keeping my fats low and mostly from unsaturated, short, or medium chain sources. Oh, it's a lot, but I think it's doable. It's a lot, but it's doable. To make a meal plan, I discovered that I could just Google gluten-free vegan and then like eliminate anything that looked like a baked good and then just like throw a piece of fish on top of it, and it worked pretty well. So that's kind of what I did. I built up a few different meal plans and I decided to just, we're gonna get the variety eventually, but for now I have made 2 single days of eating, a meal plan for 2 different days with so for a total of 6 meals, and I will rotate through those 2 for a week while I start looking up more recipes, and so then next week we'll work a couple more into the rotation. But that's a big step for me anyway. I'm a 2 meals every single day kind of person, and this is gonna be fun. So let's try to eat different foods and see how it goes.
More gruel, please.
It looks good, huh? Look at that gruel.
It looks really good.
All right, so I plan to start my day out with like a 1/4 cup of steel cut oats, a cup of berries, and a protein shake made out of like 2 scoops of protein powder and a banana. Turns out that is way too much food for one human being to eat. And before you come for me like that's not a 1/4 cup of oats, I measured it dry, you ding-a-ling. Steel cut oats are like way better if you don't try and cook them in a stovetop. Like you take a cup of steel cut oats, 6 cups of water, a little salt, throw it in the slow cooker overnight, and in the morning you have oatmeal, and it's awesome. So I took the oatmeal, cut up some berries, put some berries on there, and then I looked at it and I was like, there's no way I'm eating a protein shake with that too. So I put half the banana on the oatmeal and then saved the other half for the protein shake for the next meal. Supplement time. Now I get to take, what is this? All of this crap. All right, got L-arginine, turmeric, probiotic, butcher's broom, DIM. This one I was taking before, and I think it's helping. Who knows? And guaifenesin. It's more filling than breakfast. Then I got my workout in. You gotta excuse the weights. They are significantly less beefy than they used to be. I had a knee injury and a heel spur and a basement toilet overflow and a COVID-19 that kept me from lifting for about a year, and I've just been trying to get back into it. And anytime you're coming back to lifting after a while off, it's really important to start with weights that are really light and ramp yourself like way back up, just because your ability to tell what is too heavy for you is completely off. So that's how you get rhabdo. I don't want rhabdo. I'm lifting like a pansy and I love it. So today I took it easy. I'm still off of lower body lifting for the knee and the heel spur, but I got overhead press done. I did some bench press. I did some like self-assisted pull-ups and slow negatives, which are great when you're fat and don't have like the head space to do like bands and crap. And then curls for the girls. Then it was time for lunch. You might be thinking to yourself, T-Flex, you idiot, why would you plan to eat a 544 calorie breakfast instead of shifting that protein shake to lunch in the first place? Well, it's because today for lunch, I'm eating a can of sardines and a bucket full of broccoli. Chocolate banana sardines. Actually, I was extremely surprised. It was not bad at all. It was really, really good. I used to eat sardines, soup, and hot sauce for most days for lunch, but then I stopped because I liked my coworkers and respected them as people. Forgot how much I liked them. Because thanks to COVID, the only person who has to deal with my stinky pinch lunch is my wife, and she's not people. If you haven't tried sardines before, I highly recommend you give it a shot. But start with the kind in tomato sauce with the spices in it. Much milder fishy flavor and goes better with Frank's Red Hot than like olive oil. I like sardines because it's like the ease of eating tuna for lunch, but because the fish are so small, they're considerably lower in dangerous heavy metals like mercury, so you can eat them every day, and they're considerably more sustainable. It takes like 20 pounds of sardines to catch 1 pound of tuna, so tons of omega-3s and proteins. Just eat like a dad, y'all. Dinner was delicious. I made these sweet potato and black bean quinoa bowls with avocado cilantro dressing and then put a big slab of pollock on top, and I loved them. The wife loved them. Super tasty, and it wasn't that hard to throw together because the beans, the quinoa, and the potatoes could all like roast at the same time, and they all store and reheat really well, so I can imagine meal prepping this and eating it for like a week. All in all, my macros for the day looked like this. It was like 185 grams of carbohydrate, 23 grams of fat, and 132 grams of protein for a total of 1,399 calories. Not too bad. I'm doing okay. I was not doing okay. Okay, so about an hour after eating that dinner, I suddenly felt like super tired and my stomach and thighs just started swelling.
Well, this ain't great.
It wasn't like bloating. My stomach didn't feel full. I wasn't like gassy, which is new for me, especially considering how many beans I ate. Who was impressed?
But it's pretty fun though.
But my stomach and thighs just suddenly felt really heavy and like doughy. Usually they're all like loose and jiggly and lumpy, but they just felt so soft and moldable and weird. Like, that is not a full belly for a meal. That's weird and juicy. It did not feel normal, and it didn't feel like glycogen storage from carbing up. It felt like a lot of not normal water, and that scared me. Like, here's a video of my normal belly flab for scientific comparison. But also, like, I don't want to give up on a diet forever based on just one bad day. And I don't think it was the low-fat, plant-based thing that was the problem, because I have non-keto diet break days fairly regularly, and that's not a normal occurrence. If I can eat, like, giant nerds and, like, Cadbury mini eggs and not swell up like a water balloon, it's definitely not the carbs that's the problem. My prime culprit at this point is the beans, maybe? Because I ate so many beans, and I do not normally eat anywhere near that many beans. And I'm so glad I'm not avoiding FODMAPs, because I would die.
I'm not avoiding FODMAPs.
Don't say anything. Anyway, that's something that I can work out with a nutritionist, but since my day 2 of this eating plan doesn't really have the same foods I ate on day 1, I figured I'd give it one more go, just so I can get an extra data point on if this issue is the specific foods I was eating or the macronutrient ratio. So let's check that out. My breakfast on day 2 was fairly similar to breakfast on day 1. Less banana, more orange, a protein shake with kefir in it to go on the side, or on top. That was awesome. And then we took off to the Asian market to find all the goodies we needed for lunch and dinner. I don't know what Asian markets are like in your area, but holy crap, around here, the fish and the produce are so much better and cheaper, even if you don't really understand what all the sauces are that you're buying. First thing I did was I started making lunch by peeling a pound of shrimp. Thanks, I hate it. But it was almost worth it because lunch was delicious. We made a Vietnamese style salad, but that the recipe said was supposed to have rice noodles on it, but we left that out. There was a lot of fish sauce and coconut aminos and avocado oil and cooking rosé and basil and mint and peanuts and lemongrass, and just check out this recipe. This turned out great. I put in less honey than the recipe suggested because that's a sometimes food, but it was super tasty anyway. Then dinner, I tried to keep it simple. I made chicken the same way I make it every day for lunch on keto, but I swapped out grass-fed ghee instead of butter. And then on the side, we had polenta with red wine mushrooms. This was awesome and tasty, even though I got lazy and used the prepackaged polenta instead of cooking my own. All in all, every meal I ate today was a resounding success. I was still a little more swollen than I usually am, but nothing like the swelling I had that first day, so hooray for that. Here are the macros for that day of eating. You can see the totals ended up being 1,440 calories, 188 grams of carbohydrate, 33 grams of fat, and 144 grams of protein. Sure, why not? So, how did my experience with the RAD diet go? All in all, a resounding failure. I planned to do it for 2 weeks. I did it for 2 days. Like, wow, how exciting. I'm glad I spent like a month doing a well-researched, extremely niche YouTube video for that. So what were the numbers like? In 2 days on the RAD diet, I gained about 5.6 pounds, which is actually like not that unusual for me. Like anytime you go on carbs, you're gonna retain some water. It's just that usually it goes in your muscles and not like just free in your torso. That was weird. So since returning to keto for the past like 2 weeks, I've lost about 4 pounds. So I'm almost back to normal. Thanks, RAD. Yeah, but that swelling was not normal, and I think I'd want to figure out why that happened before I tried anything like that again. Like, one thing I've definitely gained from this experience is the knowledge that I should really, like, look into why that's happening. Like, I want to do a bunch of, like, food experiments on myself and see if I'm reacting to certain foods. Like, do I have food sensitivities?
I'm not avoiding FODMAPs.
Like, the beans could be a culprit, but also the fish. Like, I loved that Vietnamese salad and it didn't cause me any swelling at all on that second day, but like in the week since I had it, we tried to do the same thing with salmon to avoid the like hours of peeling, and I swelled up again. It wasn't as bad as the first time, but like that was weird. Like, why am I swelling? I wasn't swelling before. I don't know, it's weird. I'm gonna have to do some weird like allergen experiments and like talk to a nutritionist. She called me back. I'm gonna see her in April. I'm very excited. But there's like one thing that did really excite me about this that made me really glad I did it, and that's that I remember I love fish. Let's hope I'm not allergic to it. But like I've been still eating sardines since then, and it doesn't seem to be causing me any problems. We'll see. But I'm really enjoying eating sardines for lunch, and just like remembering how great that Asian market is. I'll have to keep doing that in the future. I'm so glad that I now know that myself. A++ would become a human waterbed again. That's it. That's what we got. What do you think? So like, have you tried the RAD diet before? Like, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you swell up like a cute chubby baby? Do you know what obvious dumb mistake I did that made that happen to me? Please tell me you know what dumb mistake I did that made that happen to me. Like, is there a nutrition or a fitness topic more relevant to your interests than I try a diet for 2 days and then quit? Give me all your hottest takes. I'll see you next month. Sorry, I just had to squeeze one of those in there.